It's CommonWell TV right here from HIMSS 2019 in Orlando, Florida. Scott Adams here with you as we're introducing you to part of our CommonWell family. And time now to hear from the president and CEO of DirectTrust, that being Scott Stuewe. And Scott, why is interoperability so important to your organization, and how does that drive your involvement with CommonWell?
Well, Scott, I've got to tell you that what's interesting about CommonWell and DirectTrust is that we're really both networks, and we're networks that do very different things. But as a consequence, we both care deeply about the interoperability challenges that the industry faces. We both believe that a patient's record should follow them or wherever they go, and we've got different piece parts to that story. And we believe also collaborating between the two organizations can make those two piece parts interoperate in ways that we have not yet determined, but that we believe are going to be important in the future.
DirectTrust, a reciprocal member there with CommonWell. What was so alluring to coming together between the two parties?
Well, I'm I guess you call me a CommonWell alum. This would be the third time I've done CommonWell TV, so with 3 different companies. So in this circumstance, I mean, given what I know about CommonWell, I believe that our organization needed to have visibility to what was happening inside of CommonWell, and I wanted DirectTrust to have Jitin's participation in our organization so he could have that same visibility to our activities. To me, that's very important to make this fabric we're trying to create for interoperability in the country function. So that's the excitement around being a member.
And we're seeing a lot of change in interoperability. And that said, where does CommonWell fall into that landscape, and where do you see them kind of moving as we advance into the future?
Well, CommonWell and DirectTrust share this true network aspect. So they both are true networks in that they have users, they have governance, they have infrastructure. And the aspect that I think is important is that infrastructure component. CommonWell's effort to deploy infrastructure on behalf of all of its members by basically jointly investing in that infrastructure has a common thread with the way DirectTrust works, where DirectTrust also has members who each have infrastructure in support of the interoperability mission. So in this way, we're the same, and this is, I think, an important staying piece. Infrastructure is required to make this work. Infrastructure beyond the endpoints. There needs to be some glue in the middle, and CommonWell represents that kind of glue that I think is incredibly important for query-based exchange. The ability to have a record locator service and a broker. Those two things were actually called out as requirements in the draft Trusted Exchange Framework, and so it's our belief that those needs for query-based exchange remain regardless of the protocol, and so CommonWell will have that staying power in the same way as the Direct will have that staying power around push messaging.
How do you see future collaborations with your organization, with CommonWell, really impacting the landscape as we move continuously forward?
The interesting thing about DirectTrust is that DirectTrust has this layer that is supported by the EHR companies themselves. On the ends, the EHRs implement Direct in their systems, and what that provides is the ability to surface information from outside. And our members that are operators of our network, the HISPs, those organizations already today do event notifications utilizing Direct as a mechanism to communicate. This is an area that CommonWell is actively working on, and something that Seema Verma called out in her discussions last night, as well as in the NPRM, the rule, called out this notion that event notifications are an important part. I think a collaboration between the various network players, national network players, could make that sort of thing a reality at the lowest possible cost for the industry. So that's my hope for collaboration.
Scott Stuewe and DirectTrust, a proud collaborator with our CommonWell team. And for more on DirectTrust, we invite you to log on to CommonWellAlliance.org. Good seeing you again, Scott. Thank you.
Thank you very much.